Well, lunch is over. I'm back on looking at Leon's engine, and I went through some of my bags of tricks and old stuff that I've done, and pieces that I had left over from other projects. And I've put together a little bit that I can show you how this thing might evolve. And I still have other things to look through. But in the end, I can take this and use this chassis if I can use an insert on top, a piece of plastic on top, to adapt the digital stuff to, and I'll show you what I mean. Maybe I will eventually show you what I mean here. Get my hands on something. Oh boy. Yeah, I set this all up, right? There we go. I see what I want. I just can't get it. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. What I was looking for is this is made in two pieces. There's a lower piece with a skirt and then the upper piece, which is a thin layer. So what I thought I might do is take the two pieces and just use the top piece and modify it for the width and length of the metal. And so this could be bolted down in the right spot for all the things we need to do, with mounts going up, and then all of the paraphernalia that needs to get put on here, like the volt regulator component that holds the volt regulators together, and here's where the motor controller would bolt to, and there would be an adapter like this that would bolt through the chassis, and that would hold the AC to DC converter rectifiers and power distribution pieces, and then the speaker and other stuff could be up front if there is one, and soundboard goes there. Soundboard has to be insulated, so I'd have to add another little piece of plastic under that, or just put a detent in this one and make it insulated, because all the boards are through holes, so the circuit on the backside, you can't have them sitting on metal. The other thing I thought I'd show you is on this one, you'll see I had the old freight train kinds of trucks on this, but it gives you it works for me. I don't care on mine so much. But on this one, he may want the more elegant looking. These are two versions of the Hudson side frame. As an older version, that's a newer version. They needed more meat, so I made it a little taller. So it could be these trucks. And then here you can see this one these are two pieces of plastic. This is one piece of plastic. So this would be, if it was a custom chassis, it would be made to fit. The tender would fit it, right? So it would be the right length and width, and it would just bolt on. But it gives you a sense of what the tender trucks could look like. You see there, we have the, you don't see there. Oh, good light here. I thought I did, but I guess I don't. I'm supposed to put it somewhere else. Very right. Those are those trucks. And then these are the more freight train trucks. Choice is his, but I'm pretty sure he's going to want this stuff on here. But you can see that gives it a good, I'd space it out a little more, gives it good spacing. This is the right height. This is a little too high. And that way it would look good and fit the scheme that he's looking for. And then the process would be get his opinion on the flavor and the heights, whatnot. This video will go a long way to doing that. But also then I would take this dimension off of the piece and start modifying or creating a new plate if he wants to use the metal. If he doesn't, then I'll just use the pieces I have and shrink and whatnot to get this to fit exactly the same way as the metal does. You know, I take these mounting holes that he wanted to use, get the holes for the centers of the trucks, and then I would add anything else I needed in here, clearance for the fan if we're going to have the cooling fan, because this opening has to be, has to be cut out for the fan to blow down. And bolt that on, assemble the components that he needs, which is not that bad really, and we'd be done. So I'm going to put some notes down, take some pictures, and send that to Leon and get his feedback. And in the next day or two, I should be able to design and print some parts and begin that assembly process. Most of the boards I have here, or if I don't, I can always assemble one, or I can get them from Arizona from Dan. He has some inventory down there. I usually don't. I don't know why, but I think this is how this is going to work, and it ties it together really nice. I think it's going to be a good-looking engine. I didn't plug it into the DC power supply to see how it runs, but I'm pretty sure he's got it clocked and tuned and adjusted and put together right. It certainly is a handsome engine, isn't it? I think everybody would want one of those. The unfortunate part is you have to take two Hudsons and cut them and put them together. That's the sad part. But that's a lot of printing. You know, there is a line right here you could use as a separation line where you could print this top half and then print this side and then glue them together. So you could take this, the cab and the top as one piece, and then the sides as one piece, and print this, and then print those, glue them together, and you would have, but you know what? You would not have the heft. You wouldn't have the mass. And then what you end up doing is lining it with lead so it has a mass. So yeah, you can make it, but you wouldn't be cutting up originals. That's a part that for me is very hard. I've done it, and I always hated myself when I was done because, okay, I got a new engine, but gee, man, hey, look what I had to go through. And I don't want to do that if I don't have to. But if I could print this, I think that would be a good thing to do. And I think that's something else I might do, is just take enough pictures and dimensions that I could actually take a shot at printing one of those. That might be interesting. I could print it thick and have little pockets where I can throw some lead in and give it some heft. It might not weigh the same, but it will weigh something, right? But then you still need the four-wheel chassis, which they're hard to find. So then I have to look at, how do I want to get into that? We have built chassis. We have 3D printed chassis. I have motors on them. I have axles. I have chassis that run around. They're very lightweight, and that's another problem. So we may have to think about this a little further down the road, but we will be making chassis. Dan has found an armature winding machine, so we're going to be reworking armatures shortly, and that's going to be a big boon for us because we're finding motors, but if the armatures aren't any good, we do the fields, right? We can make the DC fields like this, right? We love this, the armature and the brush holder. We use them all the time, but then we put our DC fields on it, and that makes it a DC motor, and that is always cool and exciting. But we're running out of them, so we may have to get into the field business somehow. Any case, that's where I'm at with this guy. I'm going to set aside some paper and do some doodling, get some dimensions, and put a note together for Leon to think this over through this video. He can look at what we have here and think this over and come back with some guidance on where I can go, and we'll get going on it. Okay, that's a pretty nice project for me. A real nice project. Not a lot of engine work. Engine's been done. He's done a lot of hard work on that side. Just stuff the tender, build a chassis and stuff the tender, which I've been doing for, a long time. So that's good. All right. I'll post this. You guys talk it out later.